Hi there, everybody. We're going to be working on triangle congruence again today using the side, 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 angle, and angle, side theorems. So again, just like the other day, we have the congruent polygons vocabulary. That means that they have the sides are congruent, and the angles are congruent. All right, so let's dig right in. Okay, so we have two triangles here. We've got triangle SAT, and we've got that other triangle. We have to figure out how to name that triangle so that they're both congruent. Remember, it matters the order. So I noticed that they started with S that has one circle on it, and then they went to the right angle, and then they went to one with two circles on it. Okay, so I'm going to look at the other one, and I'm going to say, okay, start with the one circle, the right angle, and the two circles. So that's going to be FCB. Those are congruent triangles. Look at the next one, BCD. Okay, so they started with 3, 2, 1. So on the other triangle, I'm going to have to go 3, 2, 1. So this is 3, so that's N, 2, which is M, 1, which is D. Again, GHK. So G is this little guy here, H is here, and K is the 90. Okay, so I'm going to start with G, because that's that one right here, G. Then I'm going to have to go to the 1, which is T, and then to the K. So that's triangle GTK. Those are congruent statements. Next, write congruent statements for each pair of congruent triangles. This is again what we just did, except now you have to name both of the triangles and make sure that the corresponding parts are in the right order. So I'm going to go, I always like to do 1, 2, 3. It's easier for me to remember. So here's 1, here's 2, here's 3. I'm going to call this triangle NTW, 1, 2, 3. So now on the next triangle, I'm going to do the same thing. 1 is W, 2 is I, and 3 is N. Number 5. Okay, I've got angle 1, 2, and then I've got a 90. Okay, so I can do that. C, R, A. Okay, so I want 1, 2, and then the 90. S, V, O. Look at this one. 1, 2, 90. F, E, F. 1, 2, 90. G, K, L. All right. That's a lot of practice to learn that stuff, but it's really important because you have to do that on the quizzes and the tests. All right. Draw triangles EDG and QRS. Label the corresponding parts if EDG is congruent to QRS. All right, so I'm going to draw a couple of triangles like I did on the notes the other day. It doesn't matter what they look like. I'm just going to make sure that the letters are in the right spots. EDG, so I'm going to make sure that E is down here, D, G. QRS. Q has to be first, the same spot as E. R is in the same spot as D. And S is in the same spot as G. All right, so I got two triangles. Now I look at the directions up here. It says angle E is congruent to which angle? Angle E is down here, Which angle is it congruent to? It's congruent to angle Q. So the answer is angle Q. Angle EDG is congruent to which angle? EDG, okay? EDG is this angle right here because the D is in the middle. It's got to match up to that point. Okay, so EDG is congruent to, well, it's got to be the same spot. And I'm going to read it the same way as I read angle EDG. I'm going to read it QRS. All right, so now we're looking at segments. Segment ED. Well, where's segment ED? It's right here. That's congruent to which segment over here? Well, if I look at ED in the triangle statement up on top, I see ED is the first two, QR is the first two. So I'm going to say, okay, ED is the same as QR. Segment QR. DG in the triangle statement up here, DG is the last two. So it's going to have to be the last two. DG is right here. It's got to be congruent to RS. Segment RS. GE, well, GE is the first and last in the triangle statement, the first and last. So it's got to be QS. Now if I can find it on the triangle, EG is right here, and QS is right here. So that is congruent to, GE is congruent to QS. The last one says angle EGD. EGD. Well, G is in the middle of that, so that means that it has to be this angle right here. So that is going to be congruent to this angle here. They started with E, so I have to start with Q. So I'm going to start saying angle Q. S needs to be in the middle, and R. There you go. Okay, now we're going back to yesterday's lesson again. Remember, we've got side, side, side postulate, we've got side, angle, side postulate, we've got angle, side, angle postulate, and angle, angle, side. Okay, so let's start next. Okay, are these two angles congruent, yes or no? Well, the answer is, in this first case, this is no. I don't have three congruencies here, so I can't even say that they're the same. I would need another side, or I'd need an angle. Look at number 2. We've got this side congruent to this side. I've got this angle congruent to this angle. Is there another congruency that we can assume? There is. We can say that this angle is congruent to this angle. Why? Because of the vertical angle theorem. So these are congruent. These are congruent by which theorem now? Okay, well, I've got a side, I've got angle, and angle. So that is angle, angle, side. Look at the next one. We've got this angle congruent to this angle. This angle congruent to this angle. Is there another congruency? There is, right here. That side is a shared side, so we can say that it's congruent to itself by the reflexive property. So yes, this is congruent. By what theorem? Well, I know I've got all those 4 to choose from, so I'm going to think about that, and I'm going to look at my paper and say, okay, angle, side, angle. Angle, side, angle. Okay, what do I need in order to make these things congruent? So they want me to look at this problem here, and they want me to have side, angle, side. Well, if I am looking at this, I see that we have side here, here, and here. I need an angle. Which angle is going to make these guys congruent by side, angle, side? Well, if it's side, angle, side, the angle has to be included. Remember I said that yesterday, it needs to be included between the two sides. So it's got to be sandwiched right here and right here. So the congruent statement would be, well, I mean, the statement that we would need to include then is that angle L is congruent to angle H. That's what we need in order to make it side, angle, side. Now this one is a little bit trickier. They want us to do side by side, side. Well, I've got this side here, and there is another congruency that we can assume because it's in the picture. We have this congruency here. Well, in order to make it side, 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 I need this one to be congruent to that one. So that would be side, side, side. So in order to communicate that, what we will say is that we need segment DX to be congruent to YZ, segment YZ. Okay, so finally, we need to make this guy angle, angle, side. All right, well, I've got this angle congruent to this angle, and this angle congruent to this angle. So in order to make it angle, angle, side, I needed to read it angle, angle, side. It's got to be that one. I read L, M, and this side. So in order for this to be angle, angle, side, we need segment YZ to be congruent to segment MN. Now, before you circle one of these three things here, I want you to listen to this little Thanksgiving joke. I'm thinking about Thanksgiving dinner and the turkey and the stuffing and the mashed potatoes and the pumpkin pie. What smells the best at Thanksgiving dinner? The answer? Your nose. Write that down right here. Have a good night. Bye-bye.